week 19 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I looked at off the wire this week. The first hitter, Willer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. So with Tyler O'Neill out on the injured list, Willer Abreu's getting even more of an opportunity for this Boston Red Sox team, and he's available right now 56% of fantasy leagues. So Boston, they've had a solid season, right in the thick of things in the wild card race, even in a tough division and with no expectations coming into the year. On the season for Abreu, 12 home runs, 44 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 46 runs scored, a 269 average, and a 336 on base percentage. But the last month of the year, very solid, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a 283 average, and a 353 on base. So on base percentage is solid. Power's starting to come around here for Abreu as well. And now he's pretty much playing every day since Tyler O'Neill has gone on the injured list. August 4th at Texas, 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. August 5th at the Royals, 1 for 4. August 6th at the Royals, 0 for 1. August 7th at the Royals, 0 for 1. August 9th versus Houston, 0 for 3. And August 10th versus Houston, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. So Abreu batting second in this lineup for Boston. He's going to be in there every day for the Red Sox, and he's been an up-and-comer over the last few seasons as Abreu. So right now, while he's out there in 56% of fantasy leagues, he's definitely a hitter to go out there and add this week. The next hitter, Joc Pederson of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Pederson, we know we don't verse lefties in the lineup, and Arizona has a good platoon system over the last couple of years. But Pederson, he's been playing great baseball, especially the last month of the year on the season. 19 home runs, 52 RBIs, 45 runs scored, a 286 average, and a whopping 392 on base percentage here for Pederson. And the last month, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs, 11 runs scored, a stolen base, a 346 average, and a 469 on base. So Pederson, he's been lights out for this Arizona Diamondback team, especially over the last month of the season. And right now, since he's out there only in 53% of fantasy leagues, this is most likely the last chance for fantasy owners to go out there and get Pederson this week. But like I said, just versus lefties, he's going to sit. But I still would take him on my roster. He's going to show power. He's going to draw walks. And he's a good catalyst, batting third in this lineup usually for Arizona. August 7th at Cleveland, 2 for 8, a run and a doubleheader. August 8th versus Philly, pinched hit 0 for 1. August 9th versus Philly, 1 for 2, a homer and RBI. And August 10th versus Philly, 2 for 5 with a run. So this Diamondback team, they're playing great baseball. Joc Pederson's been a big part of it. And he's been a streak hitter, no doubt about it, throughout his career, where there's weeks and months where he's going to go on a tear, and then months where he looks like one of the worst hitters in all baseball is Joc Pederson. But this season, for the most part, it's been even keel, and he's been consistent, and he's a hitter to go out there and add this week. The next hitter is his teammate, Gerardo Perdomo of the Arizona Diamondbacks, making the All-Star team. Last season was Perdomo, but this year he's missed the majority of the season. He hasn't been in the major leagues. On the year, 1 home run, 21 RBIs, 34 runs scored, 182 at-bats, 3 stolen bases, a 291 average, and a 342 on base percentage. But the last couple weeks, he's been an everyday player pretty much as Perdomo. 1 home run, 9 RBIs, 10 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 400 average, and a 426 on base percentage. Qualifies at second, third, and short. Very good versatility. And he's batting 8th in this lineup for Arizona. Good pitches to hit, and right now a solid ad as well. Available is Perdomo in 81% of leagues. August 7th at Cleveland, doubleheader, 1 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 8th versus Philly, 2 for 4, run. August 9th versus Philly, 1 for 3. And August 10th versus Philly, 3 for 4 with 2 runs. We saw last season a lot of multiple hit games for Perdomo until the league adjusted and caught up a little bit, throwing a lot of breaking balls and off-speed stuff to Perdomo. But like I said, right now he's playing great baseball. Everyone on this Diamondback team is contributing, where they jumped from pretty much second in the wild card race in a month. So right now, while Perdomo's playing good baseball, and like I said, good versatility, second, third, and short, not the greatest of positions in fantasy baseball, where he can help majorly at second and short, especially. He's a good ad this week. Next hitter is Tyler Stevenson of the Cincinnati Reds. Tyler Stevenson, a few years ago, he was one of the better catchers in fantasy baseball, but he's tailed off the last couple of years. But this season, he's definitely made improvement on the year. 14 home runs, 44 RBIs, 48 runs scored, a 244 average, and a 322 on base. And over the last couple weeks, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 279 average, and a 354 on base percentage. We know catch is one of the weakest positions in all fantasy baseball. And Tyler Stevenson batting third in the Cincinnati Red team. He plays in a great hitter's park, the smaller parks in all major leagues. Playing well better this season is Stevenson. Already more home runs than last year. August 6th at Miami, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 7th in Miami, 2 for 4, a run. August 8th in Miami, 1 for 4, a run, 2 RBIs. And August 10th at the Brewers, 0 for 4. So like I said, Stevenson third in the Cincinnati Red lineup. I know this Red team, they traded some pieces off at the Major League trade deadline, but I believe their offense obviously still has great pieces. De La Cruz, Ty France, I think was a decent deal for them. Jonathan India, Will Benson in this lineup. Novo Marte, I know he hasn't been well, but he's a prospect as well coming into the year that they had high hopes for. So right now, while Stevenson's been playing good baseball and available still, it's 61%, especially at a weak catcher position. He's an ad this week. Next hitter's another catcher, Austin Wells of the New York Yankees. Austin Wells, he's come out of nowhere for this Yankee team. Never known for his offense back, but he's gone out there and he's made the most of his opportunity with Trevino down on the year. 8 home runs, 33 RBIs, 31 runs scored, a stolen base, a 251 average, and a 346 on base percentage for Austin Wells. But the last month of the season, one of the better hitting catches in all fantasy baseball. 3 home runs, 16 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 324 average, and a whopping 419 on base percentage. But when you're in the lineup with Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Jazz Chisholm, who's been a monster pickup for this Yankee team, Giancarlo Stanton as well, you're going to get pitches to hit, and it's going to be a lot of fastballs where you could guess the pitch, and that's what Austin Wells has been doing. August 4th versus Toronto, 1 for 4. August 7th versus the Angels, 2 for 4 in RBI. August 8th versus the Angels, 1 for 4. And August 10th in a doubleheader versus Texas, 2 for 6 with 4 RBIs. Right now batting in that 4th, 5th range for the most part. Austin Wells has been hitting over the last few weeks. And like I said, that's prime time positioning in a lineup with Aaron Judge, Soto, and Chisholm as the 3 main guys, and Giancarlo Stanton as well, who's still got that pop, even though everything else he really hasn't done the last few seasons. Austin Wells in a good lineup, getting a lot of good pitches to hit and good pitch counts, and he's made the most of his opportunity with Trevino out, and he's available in 75% of fantasy leagues. Next hit is Michael Conforto of the San Francisco Giants. Michael Conforto, it's been an up and down few seasons for him over there in San Francisco. Another hitter that sits a lot versus lefties on the year. 12 home runs, 50 RBIs, 37 runs scored, a 235 average, and a 314 on base. But the last couple weeks, just like this Giant team, Conforto's caught fire. 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 342 average, and a 447 on base. So Michael Conforto, even going back to his New York Met days, he was a streak hitter where he would get most of his stats in a month and a half, 2 months, and then the rest of the year pretty much be mediocre to poor were his numbers. August 6th at Washington, 2 for 3, a homer, 3 RBIs. August 7th at the Nats, 1 for 4, an RBI. August 8th at the Nats, 2 for 4, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. August 9th versus the Tigers, 0 for 2, a run, an RBI. And August 10th versus Detroit, 0 for 4. So Conforto right now, well, he's been hot over the last few weeks, and I obviously don't expect it to continue for Conforto. He's just a streak hitter, and like I said, he's had flashes at times where he gets his numbers in bunches. I believe right now I would give him a shot, but like I said, if he fizzles out quicker than you expect, it wouldn't be surprising to me with Conforto. He's out there in 77% of fantasy leagues. He's a hitter I looked at this week. The next hitter, Joey Bart, former top prospect in that San Francisco Giant organization, but he just hasn't panned out, and they thought he was going to be the next Buster Posey replacement and a guy be with the franchise for many years, but obviously traded to the Pirates early in the season, and he's actually been pretty decent, especially of late. Is Bart on the year, 10 home runs, 32 RBIs, 23 runs scored, a 267 average, and a nice 347 on base percentage. In the last month of the year, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, 14 runs scored, a 309 average, and a 382 on bases. Sometimes these prospects with a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure on them just don't pan out, and then you see they get traded to another team and things pan out and they start to live up to potential. August 6th versus the Padres, 1 for 4. August 8th versus the Padres, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 9th at the Dodgers, 1 for 5, a homer, 3 RBIs. And August 10th at the Dodgers, 1 for 4. So Bart, primetime positioning, batting cleanup in the lineup for this Pittsburgh Pirate team. He's showing power. He's driving in runs, a great on-base percentage, good batting average, especially at the catcher position. And like I said, maybe a change of scenery is what Bart needed, and obviously it's paying off right now. I'm not saying it's going to last all year, but he's definitely showing flashes and been good all around, because we knew the defense has always been there for Bart. It's just been the bat, and now the bat's finally coming around over there in Pittsburgh, available in 88% of fantasy leagues. Next hitter, Matt Wallner of the Minnesota Twins. Matt Wallner, former top prospect in this Minnesota system. Last season and half a year, 14 home runs, 41 RBIs, 42 runs scored, a 250 average, 370 on base. And this season, we really haven't seen much of Wallner, but in only 88 at-bats, 7 home runs, 19 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a stolen base, a 273 average, and a whopping 398 on base. Obviously, it's a small sample size, but he's playing every day now, is Wallner, and he's been impressive, no doubt about it, for Minnesota, a team that always could use extra offense. In the last month, 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a stolen base, a 308 average, and a 410 on base percentage. So Wallner getting the opportunity now, and he's batting prime in this lineup as well, 3rd or 4th. August 5th at the Cubs, 2 for 4 run. August 7th at the Cubs, 1 for 3, an RBI. August 9th versus the Guardians, 1 for 3, a homer, 3 RBIs. And August 10th versus the Guardians, 1 for 4 with an RBI. So like I said, Wallner's playing great baseball for this Minnesota Twin team. I know it's a small sample size, but this time of the year, it's tough to find solidified hitting and consistent hitting. I know very small sample size, but in deeper 12-team leagues or deeper, I definitely would go out there and get Wallner, available right now in 89% of fantasy leagues. Next hitter is Alex Cole of the Washington Nationals. Alex Cole, he's been in the minors pretty much the whole season until the Nats traded some pieces away. Victor Robles, month and a half ago. Then towards the deadline, Jesse Winker, they traded away, and Lane Thomas, one of the better overall hitters. And I thought Dylan Cruz was going to be the next call-up, and a player playing every day for Washington, one top prospect in the system since James Wood got called up a few months ago. But Alex Cole has been up in the major leagues, taking Winker and Thomas's spot, and he's been producing at a big rate. 1 home run, 10 RBIs, 11 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 421 average, and a 515 on base percentage. I know only 57 at-bats, but still, he's someone catching people's eye on the waiver wire. Added in 10% of fantasy leagues this week, and available in 89% of leagues overall. So Alex Cole last year, he had a decent look, 375 at-bats, didn't show much, 8 home runs, 38 RBIs, 43 runs scored, 9 stolen bases, a 200 average, and a 307 on base. But Cole, maybe being all season in the minor leagues, worked his kinks out, and now he was ready for another stint in the majors. And obviously, so far in the last few weeks since he's been called up, he's definitely shown he's improved. August 7th versus the Giants, 2 for 5, a run, and RBI. August 8th versus the Giants, 2 for 5, a run, a stolen base. August 9th versus the Angels, 3 for 5, a run, an RBI. August 10th versus the Angels, 2 for 4, an RBI. So right now, batting leadoff for second for this Washington national team. On base percentage, stolen bases, and runs scored is what Cole's going to bring. He's not going to hit over 400. He might not even finish the season hitting over 300 is Alex Cole. But right now, he's getting a chance and making the most of it. After last season, he got an opportunity, and he just couldn't get the job done. And the final hitter, I looked it off the wire, is Andrew Benintendi of the Chicago White Sox. At Benintendi, it's been one of the worst contracts signed over the last few seasons in free agency. And Benintendi last year didn't show much. This season, he's shown some power, but a 211 average and a 264 on base percentage with 13 home runs, 40 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and 32 runs scored. But the last month of the season, he's turned things around. All of a sudden, he's Benintendi. 7 home runs, 15 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a 259 average, and a 302 on base percentage. In the last couple weeks, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, 9 runs scored, a 302 average, and a 348 on base percentage. I'm not saying it's going to last for Benintendi. The last season and a half, he really hasn't done much for the Chicago White Sox team and fantasy owners. And we knew he was a top prospect, and a lot of hype coming out with Benintendi years ago where he was with the Red Sox. But obviously, he just hasn't lived up to expectations. August 5th at Oakland, 1 for 3 in RBI. August 6th at Oakland, 2 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 7th at Oakland, 1 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 9th versus the Cubs 2 for 4, 2 home runs. And August 10th versus the Cubs, 0 for 5. So Benintendi showing big power right now for the Chicago White Sox team all of a sudden out of nowhere. But like I said, he's not really a hitter I could trust. But in deeper leagues, if you want to take a flyer on him, especially deep roto leagues, 14-team leagues or deeper, I think he'd help owners in that aspect where there's not many players on the waiver wire. So he's available in 95% of fantasy leagues. That's a few hitters I looked at off the wire for Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season.